Hi, Paul Avens here from Team Dynamics, and in this video we're going to be talking about the mechanic profile. Now, you may just have found out that you have a mechanic on your team, or you may actually be actively recruiting a mechanic in order to help fix some of the systems and processes and perhaps products that are currently broken in your business. So if you're sitting there thinking, I've got things in my business that just aren't working, then you know what? A mechanic is the perfect profile for you to have on the team because they're really going to add an enormous amount of value to you. So, in this video, we're going to talk about how to work with them, how to tap their talents, how to put the mechanic in flow so that you can grow as a business and really find that next level of performance and profitability. So without saying any more, we're going to jump over to the visuals where I'm going to walk you through in more detail the mechanic profile, how to work with it, and how it will really help your business shift to the next level by getting rid of those areas that just aren't working well. Let's head to the visuals now.
Hi, and welcome to this deep dive on the mechanic profile. Let's jump straight in. So mechanics, as you know, are in the top left-hand corner of the Talent Dynamics square. So we have Dynamo, Blaze, Tempo, Steel. Mechanics sit right in the top left-hand corner. That mix of steel and dynamo energy, which gives lead to their name as a mechanic. Now, if you are to look at one of their profiles here, what you'll see very clearly is that they're absolutely in the right-hand corner. And you'll see by the frequencies that's shown on their report, Dynamo 36, Steel 36, so a perfect balance here between the two of those energies. Blaze 4, Tempo 24. So this person would be able to finish things relatively okay on time because they've got a tempo of 24. They probably need a bit of support, but they'd be okay. Where they need massive help is obviously interacting with other people on the team because they would prefer to be isolated, work on their own, which obviously isn't very collaborative. So they would need help from Blaze, either a Blaze manager or a Blaze leader, to really kind of bridge the gap between what they're working on and what they're trying to fix and what they need from the team in terms of perhaps content, ideas, perhaps they need data, perhaps they need information maybe from of who it's going to impact or customer feedback. Any of these things that they would need would be quite difficult for them to get. It's very hard for them. They're not naturally inclined to go have those conversations. So they would need support literally from a supporter or a star to really kind of help take their ideas and connect them to a marketplace. Now, if you're working with a mechanic as a leader, let's talk about exactly how that might show up for you. So typically, what mechanics need is they need opportunities to fix and improve things. That's really where they're at their best. It's that mix of steel energy of kind of like, you know, what tinkering with things, you know, and where they're about endurance and finishing things off. So they want the opportunities to fix and improve things because that's when their skills naturally come to the forefront. How do you talk to them or how do you manage them as a leader? Well, the key here is to give them clear brief with visuals. They're very visual orientated. Mechanics like pictures, but you've got to back it up with specific deadlines and details and build in a feedback loop. Otherwise, what happens is mechanics will isolate themselves and keep working on a project until it's reached the point of perfection from their standpoint. And mechanics, you know, they can always see a way to improve something even if it's only by 1 or 2%. So if there isn't a feedback loop, they'll get stuck hanging on to things when you really need them to release them and move on to the next project. The questions that they ask will be, you know, what's the next thing you want me to fix? How do you want it to work? They'll be very much a mix of the what and the how questions, which is the steel and the dynamo question. And they'll be like, what's wrong with it? You know, how do you want it to work out? How do you want me to get back to you? You know, what do you need it to be? What are the key things this product needs to do next for the customer? They'll be very much asking those kind of questions, that mix of hard-edge questions, but maybe for data, and the kind of inspirational pictures of visual questions of the future and where they can take it. In terms of how to communicate with them, really, you've got to paint a picture for them because they're visuals of what needs fixing or finishing, and then give them the freedom, the space, and the support to actually get on and do it. The reason you need to give them the support is so that they can bridge the gap between the technical way they'll be working and the people they'll be interacting with on the team that they will need to get feedback from or get buy-in from. Best kind of job roles for them? Well, typically anything to do with developing systems or product innovation. We found over the years as well that sales coaching is quite good for them because they're very good at developing a system and teaching it to other people in terms of how to sell, especially if it's a technical type product. They'll do particularly well with that. Data collection or data mining as a very kind of mechanical type project as well to be involved with. Engineering, construction, anything that you think about is about building things, putting things together. So architects, typically we work with a couple of companies that are architects and their mechanic profiles. So certainly very high, even if it's their secondary profile. They're also quite good at things like SEO for websites, because they're really good at how do they constantly improve it, and it's a thing that never really ends. So they're always about how do you improve it, how do you improve it, how do you improve it. And again, Mechanic naturally in their flow doing that. Now, when you talk about stress inducers for a mechanic, project management, because they're away from that tempo energy. Again, big generalization. If they've got a 24, 25%, as this profile has, tempo energy, then they may be better at doing it than others. But typically, mechanics are quite far away from that tempo energy, so struggle with that. Plus, project management also needs a fair amount of people management as well. So for them, that's quite challenging at the same time. So they're all about negotiation, customer service, interviewing, lack of job clarity. Those things will all create stress for them, especially customer service, because they're having to, connect with a human being that isn't predictable. They can't plan it out. It isn't always the same. Again, interviewing is a very kind of it's an evolving, living, breathing process, and again, they find that difficult because they can't systemize it. And likewise, it's stressful for them if there's a lack of job clarity, if there's too much vagueness about what they're supposed to be doing. They find that quite stressful because they get strength from structure, the steel part of their profile, structure, and moving forward in that sense. So let's look at the secondary profiles. So in this particular case, obviously we've got a mechanic profile here. Secondaries are coming in very strongly as the creator and the Lord profile, as you can see. So again, notice there's no orange or gold color here, and there's no red either. So you really see that their profile is really kind of in need of those other energies to bring out the best in them in the team as well. So their secondary profile here is the Lord, which is the real kind of analytical, detail-orientated person who needs that tons of facts and data, as well as the creator, who can also swing violently to the new ideas and the big picture thinking. So they can be quite challenging to be around in a team, because they'll swing from really big picture ideas to suddenly wanting to drill down into massive amounts of detail. And this can be quite confusing for other team members to get their heads around if they aren't aware that they're a mechanic profile. And you, as a leader, if you're listening to this, will need to be aware that creators mechanics can swing to the creator side of their profile and then back to the Lord side of their profile. So they can get very excited and then suddenly want to get very detailed and slow everything down. So they can be quite challenging to manage and quite disruptive at times, because they'll get people excited and then literally feel like they're throwing the anchor out to slow everything down. So you just got to be careful in terms of how you manage them as a leader. Who do mechanics need around them to get the best leverage? Well, obviously we talked about what they like to do and how they like to fix things, and that the fact that they can, in a team, cause friction by appearing a little bit aloof and remote. That's because normally they have a fairly low blaze energy. Well, typically mechanics need stars. Why? Because stars are the brand ambassadors for the team, but they'll also take the perfected product out from the mechanic and tell everybody about it. So they'll shine the light on the team, the solution, everything that the mechanic has put together. And mechanics are very much behind the scenes and really ideally like other people to go out and promote. Now, you will get exceptions to that, and by the way, remember, a mechanic can do a star's job if it's needed, but it will cause them quite a bit of stress. So I have a client of mine who's a mechanic who also presents on stage for 2 or 3 days at live events. He's brilliant at putting all the slides in the event together. He finds the stage work, he can do it, but he finds it absolutely exhausting, and he's wiped out after a 3-day event for about a week. He needs to recover. So you can do it. It's much more leverage, though, for a mechanic to get a really good star to take their products and ideas. In fact, I had another client of mine who is a mechanic who in the mechanical engineering space, who had a great product but just wasn't generating the kind of sales. And we hired a salesperson who was a star profile, and in the first 9 months in that company, in that role, that star brought in the same amount of revenue as was projected for the next 2 years in just 9 months. So because they were able to shine their light on the product that mechanic made, you get massive amounts of growth. And then finally, mechanics need that tempo energy, and they need traders who will help keep the mechanics on time and on point, who will work to deadlines and keep the mechanics from over-engineering things and letting people down, because they could never finish it, because it's always that perfect. The traders will go, no, you've got this long, and then I'm taking it off you. So they really kind of enforce that discipline, which is really needed for a mechanic to get them to perform at a higher level. So when you look at their profile, just to give you another example of a mechanic profile, this is why we say that you need a really personal debrief, because every profile is different. You cannot generalize. You can understand, but you should never generalize that everybody behaves the same. It's not true. If you look at this mechanic profile, we've got 32 blaze, 32 steel, which again is the balance. But we've got 16 blaze, so 32 dynamo, 32 steel, 16 blaze, and 20 tempo. So again, you'd get a very different experience of working with this mechanic because they've got more blaze energy than the previous one at 4%. So you would be getting a bit warmer, a bit more connection, a bit more ability to communicate and collaborate from this mechanic than you would from the previous one. And again, it's just to show you how different the same profile can be in terms of label, and obviously you don't ever want to use your profile as an excuse for your behavior. I'm just this, I can't do that, but I just wanted to show you how the nuances, if you're a leader, why it's so important to understand the nuances. And obviously we train people in those distinctions and nuances during our 2-day certification training. So in a team role, just to round out the team, we've talked obviously in the previous videos about all the different roles, but the last one, if you think, is the mechanic. He's the system builder. He's the one whose job is to take everything and build systems to support the scalability and ultimately the saleability of the business, right? So if you're really going to grow a business, you've got to have somebody who's able to do this, the systems building piece. Now, obviously the best thing is to have a mechanic. If you can't afford that at the moment, then you want to make sure you've got a creator who's got a secondary as a mechanic, or a lord who's got a secondary as a mechanic. So either one of those will work. Just to show you a quick client story. So here's a client of ours, interestingly, in the property industry. So the creator mechanic, Dell, who runs the business here, always got lots of new ideas around him, but needed the deal maker to take those ideas out. But what he really needed was the mechanic on his team to come in, because he's in the property industry, because it's all about building, construction. He needed a really great mechanic to be the guy on site to go and actually make sure that the systems and the procedures and the policies were being built so that they could scale this business out. And as a result of bringing that energy into the team, they ended up doing, I think it was 4 times as many sales in the following 12 months on the construction project side than they'd done in the previous 2 years. And that was really just down to the fact that Dell wasn't the only one driving it. He could put systems in place and build that for the team to then run. And obviously, as you'll see, then we've got a nice mix here. We've got some blaze energy and some tempo energy. What we were lacking at the time of shooting this was this strong steel energy, and we identified as a team through the workshop that what we needed was a mechanic with the dynamo energy to keep up with Dell, and the steel energy to put the structure in place on site. And that really was a mechanic profile that was needed, and it had a transformational effect on this team's dynamics, and really helped it shift to a whole new level of performance. Okay, so that just concludes the overview of the mechanic profile. Hopefully you've got tons of notes and ideas and insights. With that, I'm going to hand you back to the studio.
Hi and welcome back. So we've just done a deep dive into the mechanic profile, and I'm sure you've learned a lot about how they can help you fix systems, fix challenges in your business, and really kind of work with you to take things and improve something that you may already have. Now, you may be a mechanic, you may be watching this thinking, am I a mechanic? That really resonated. Or you may be thinking, have I got a mechanic on my team? I'm not sure. I might have, I'm not sure. Well, rather than guess, I'm going to encourage you to click the button below me on this page and really kind of take advantage of the opportunity to not just get a profile, but get a debrief with one of our certified trainers and consultants. This is an incredible opportunity for you. And right now you can get the profile and the debrief for free when you buy the profile on this page. So I'm going to encourage you to do that, because if you are a mechanic, we're going to really take you further and show you how to work with your profile, plus show you who you need around you on the team to really kind of leverage your talents to the next level, really kind of shift your business, help it flow and grow and move forward. So if you think you've got a mechanic on the team, this profile and debrief is going to be revolutionary for them, because it's going to totally show them why they cause problems in the team when they hang on to things too much, when they actually try and perfect things when, you'd got way past the point of it being a valuable use of their time. What that's going to do for you and your business, if you're a leader, is it's going to give you a much better return on their talent and their time, because you're going to find out how to get them into flow much more, and they're going to understand why you're asking them to move on to the next project. So it's a really powerful tool. Wanted to give you that as a gift and a way of saying thank you for watching these videos, and really kind of to encourage you to continue your learning and development really around how to build this high performing team. So click the button below, it's on this page, and take advantage of that opportunity. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.